Hello everyone here in Australia. This is a message for you, a public. We want you to know, and if you can help us this one, so it can reach to our leaders. And the parliament, especially the parliament, because they're the one who make the laws. I'm sure they're unaware about this. If you anybody who hasn't watched the part one of this miscarriage of justice of Farhad Said in the YouTube, please do so, because I don't want to repeat what I've already said. But we made the first one to see how come Farhad he accept the plea bargain, what advice he was told by Adam Huda. But just to recap some of the few things which is I said at the beginning, what Farhad he was arrested and charged with a conspiracy to commit act of terrorism. The evidence was a footnote omitted. There was no handwriting of Farhad. The judge knew about it, and he even put it on the judgment too. For the handwriting of Farhad was not identified, but they change it and go. So now we just go to the part two of it, which is the submission. The submission, it was right by the barrister, which was nominated by Adam Huda himself, and this is what he said. And this submission, it contradicts what Adam Huda gave advice to Farhad to accept it, to plead guilty. So the submission, it begins like this: the Crown has withdrawn the confident and forceful statement of fact of being criminal, of the fact condition of being involved with others in activities is unlawful and morally wrong in a conspiracy to commit preparatory act, let alone act terrorism. So this is number one here, as you see on the board. The barrister clearly, he just said like the conspiracy charge of Farhad, it was forceful to him. Because there was no evidence. It was statement of forceful they've been put to him. But I don't know why Adam Huda told him to take a plea. It was morally wrong, actually, in a conspiracy. And now they wanted to charge him in a second offense, which is they say he wrote part of the document, and that document somebody was already being charged with it without a conspiracy or of terrorism. And the charge was signed by Commonwealth Public Prosecutor Officer a day before Farhad took a plea bargain, which is amazing. Farhad, he should plead guilty first, and then you write the charges, but they do vice versa. So he said, let alone act terrorism. I mean, how can you make it? This has become clear, and this is how Adam Huda is going to reply to this, because his own barrister, he just go against his advice and what he said. He said it should not be acceptable to draw the conclusion. You know, what you want to put to this innocent person, it should not be acceptable. And then he said the document itself is questionable because there was no forensic, it was not examined by the expert, and it state of appearing to be true, but not necessarily so supporting violence jihad. So he said this document, the one you just put it in there, they look like they're true to support the jihad, but actually they're not at all. They're just fake. Tell straight away that this barrister, they say, that's why I don't mention his name, because for him, he said the truth about this, and you will come to know next week I will post about the proceeding. What he said, everything is going to say on the proceeding. He said, I was instructed. And the only person who spoke with Farhad, it was Adam Huda himself. And negotiation, he was done by Adam Huda himself. He want our son to go in prison so bad. So this statement of this document, they appear to be true, but necessary so. No evidence that document were used by other accused or was expected to be known some stage by Farhad's side cannot be countenanced nor consider possible likely event. Okay, you put this document, the court should not even take this as a likely event. It's a joke. It's a joke what you guys you wanted to do. This is what is barrister mean, but he cannot put that way. How notional. This is based on theory, does not happen in reality. Like you can get this in the movies, but not in reality. But for us, there is no here theory, because our son is 9 years and 6 months, has been sentenced in prison, you know. And then he say, these statement and the words, like the words they use, like, you know, call Australian pigs, call police dogs, Australian federal building, all of these words, the one they used to convict our son, they came from the prosecutor. They didn't come from any of these young people. They didn't say this. This is just the Crown has picked these words in order they can tell to the Australian public the reason why we convict them, because they choose Australian building and they call pigs, and they say this is a word. This is what he means here. This is a barrister. I say he's a very smart guy. It says a statement. You choose the bad words like that in order to make it, and it make us, all of us, to look bad actually. And so they say care must be taken to look the case and its merit, because you can't just charge Farhad for the mistake of other people, as we see in his file. In his file, there's page of Farhad, there are only 20 pages out of 500. So they put everything of someone else's in order to convict our son. They say care must be taken. Remorse not be used in itself to aggravate the crime, because they've been told not allowed to speak, like Farhad. Adam Hura told him he's not allowed to speak, to give evidences. If he speak about his case, he's going to get more years in prison, you know. So they use all of his technique, I don't know what you call technique or deception, or I don't know, man. I wish I can speak in Swahili so you can understand. You cannot use that, because you can't say, Farhad, you have to say you accept the responsibility or you feel remorse for what you have done. Like everyone else, they listen to their defense and they agree to do that. A judge rejected anyway. So what was the point for play bargain? When you tell people you have to do this, you're going to get 25% discount, and then the judge is going to reject it, everything anyway, and check it in the bin and use that, what you said, to accept the responsibility to get even more penalties on you. The disproportional sentence. So I say the aggravation, you cannot aggravate the crime to tell him to feel remorse. And this is the point I wanted to mention. When they reject him on parole, one of the things, like, he didn't agree to do what the psychologists say, or do the radicalization program. Because I wrote it to them, which is a legal aid lawyer. He didn't send it, my submission, but I sent them myself to say to them, like, look, you can't ask Farhad, you can't refuse parole. He shouldn't even be in prison in the first place. But we'll come to talk about that later on. You know, so in a protecting element of the sentence may be concerned, it is aggravating factor. So Farhad, he was charged as it was a protection of the community, according to the judgment, right? I don't want to talk about judgment. I say I'm not going to comment about the court or the judge at this stage. But as I'm saying, in a protecting element of the sense, it may be concerned, is aggravating factor. But he was charged exactly as they were protecting of the community. So you get innocent person on the street. He wasn't part of summary of fact. He didn't do any crime. He didn't even accept responsibility, as I'm speaking today here in September to do de-radicalization program. He didn't accept the responsibility of all of that, because he knows. And I told him they should not ask about these things, because it will be aggravating factor. But in the same time, he's already been in prison for 7.5 years so far, and we're still counting. The doctrine proposition theory is clear in definite time. Like, if you wanted to know something is a very clear theory, it is in Farhad's case. and then you get the quotation of the December period, cannot be taken account of the circumstances of aggravation will warrant a conviction for more serious offense. You know, so here he just took this piece of December thing, he just said, to commit act of terrorism is life imprisonment. But Farhad, he was charged with more serious offense. So because they know he's innocent of a conspiracy, he wasn't part of that. So now he's going to be charged with more serious offense. Because it does not make sense to say he was charged with a conspiracy and then we reduce it to more serious offense. What is more serious offense than life imprisonment? But for Farhad, it will conviction for more serious offense. So it is very clear that you don't need to be genius. I finished only high school in Africa, but when I read this one, I know this is ridiculous. Man, everything this barrister need to say about Farhad, he said it in this submission. But you're going to hear the third post, it will be next week, about the proceeding. And this is a thing, man, that everyone should pay attention for what the defense, what they call defense lawyers, they can do to their own client. It's unbelievable, because that's what the reason why this they should take this Mr. Adam Huda and put him in a Supermax, and then he will see how it's like, because the life of our son, for him, it was nothing. It was nothing. He came from Africa. He doesn't have a parent. His uncle, which is myself, I don't know nothing. I didn't ask him any questions. But now we know this case. So we just wanted the parliament and those, our leaders, please, we already wrote to you. We don't want to go through all of this, because the end of the next month, which is August, the first week when it's finished, for us, we have to talk about the entire case, because this is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. Look here, for example, this is notion number 5. The words they use, man. The words they use, like to say our son, he called Australian pigs or dogs. Man, this is a prosecutor, they wrote this one, man. And if they don't believe you, no one believe me, go and ask them, because they're the one who do it. If they deny, we will come and produce the evidences, because the proceeding we have it here, we have it in Africa, we have everywhere. But we're just gonna go quiet, we just leave it, because this is not nice. It's not nice, man. We're human beings too, man. We feel the pain and we see. We cannot allow our son to be labeled criminal for the rest of his life, and we know the truth as a parent, and then we just sit, do nothing. When if he repeat again, if he has done something wrong, he can state. But this is a case, no one can come and comment. Not the judge, not the prosecutor, not Adam Huda, not anybody who can come even to speak about this case, because it has too much stuff. That is only a few, and I just make this video short so we can get. So we want everyone who listen to this message, just please, just forward, let Australia know we want our son out, because there is no any other way our son can be justified still to stay inside, because it's not fair, man. This is Australia. We have a good justice system, as we read in the paper. You cannot be convicted without evidences, but in this case they got absolutely wrong. So now we just wait to see on the proceeding, because this is a submission of our son. We wanted to see what is the Crown is going to reply in this one. All of these things here, because these are not an allegation, they are fact. How they're going to reply to say, no, it's not true. He was charged and he was this case is not into theory. They have to come and reply, because the judge will sit there and listen what is going to be said. But what the Adam Huda instruction on the proceeding is brutal. It is inhumane. it is a shame actually to happen in Australia in front of the judge. Because in Australia, even if you plead guilty, still the Crown, they have to come and give the evidences to support what you already pleaded guilty. Not because somebody pleaded guilty and then you go and tell the court, listen, don't believe this guy is not an extremer. Just put him in prison for 10 years and 6 months and then reduce the 6 months. That should be okay. No, we're human beings. So we need help. We don't need money. We don't need donation. We need just to get people to know about this case. This is a part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1, go and listen to part 1, which is it was introduction of Farhad. This is a submission, and then there is another one as for proceeding. I would like to thank everybody. I'm sorry for my English is not very good, and I'm not good in the computer. And I haven't go out yet, ask for help so I can put in details everything so people they can read it. But at the end of the day, we want our leaders to give us justice. Free our son, please, because he's innocent. He shouldn't even be there. And one thing before I forget, I go, there is 2 points I wanted to mention in before I go to the proceeding. He pleaded not guilty, Farhad, for 1 year. And then Adam Huda advised him to take a plea bargain, right? So before they go to the court, they get a psychologist report to say, psychologist he put as Farhad, he need a verb and interaction to improve his low self-esteem. Remember, he's already staying in a supermax for 1 year. And this is what psychologist he just came. He need a verb and interaction to improve his low self-esteem. So our son, he has a low self-esteem, but for us, he's a quiet and humble. But in Australian way, that's a called self-esteem. And then the other report, it was coming from the manager of the Supermax, I believe. He said the Farhad's behavior, this is before he was sentenced, is a praiseworthy and remarkable because he would do what he was told. There was a fight, he just sit himself separate. Because he's not such a person. He never been in a violence, fighting, or even argument. This is it, and he doesn't deserve. We thank God until now there's nothing happened in prison. So we just want people to understand the truth. We speak nothing but the truth, and anybody who has any question, he can go and ask these offices. We already complained, or what we're saying, if it's not true, they can go and ask the Crown, who are leading this, who use these words, bad words, to call Australian dogs and to call Australian pigs and police dogs. They did not come from our son at all. They came from the prosecutor. And the judge, he just give a sign of approval. So prosecutor says something, the judge he accepted, and then they dump it to our son. So we would like everyone to give us a hand and spread the word, please, so we can get freedom, free justice. Nothing else what we want. We just want our son to be released, because we will talk about this case until the day we die, because we can't sleep, to be honest. It's not a joke. Since 2020, we follow it up about this in silence. No one knows. We don't have many big people, community, money to do whatever. But we have tried our best. And we have been ignored, but now it's the time for us to let Australian public to know the truth. We want our son to be free and clear his name so he can come at least to raise his daughter, because his daughter now she's 7. She just turned 7. Thank you very much, everybody. Just forward, please, for whoever you can get it, this message, it will go. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't go in Australia, we don't get, justice. We're gonna take it too in Swahili language, because there is 14 countries that speak Swahili, 150 million people. They will love to hear something like this happen in Australia. You know what I mean? So they can come and blame and say, like, look, this is how African they get treated in Australia. We don't want this embarrassment to come to our country. we want a justice. So we can prove and tell our people too back in Africa, look, we told you guys there is a justice and we got justice at the end of it. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next week. I'm gonna post about the proceeding, which is, man, that's crazy. Thank you very much. See you.